Today, India achieved a significant breakthrough after round 12 of the core commander level talks between India and China. The Defence Ministry today said that the countries have both seized forward deployments in patrolling point 17A, better known as the Gogra post. The disengagement process was carried out over 4th and 5th of August. What this means is now that both sides have returned to their respective permanent bases, and all the temporary structures and all the attendant infrastructure which was created in the area by both the countries has been completely dismantled. And here's the most important part: it has been mutually verified. So it's not just an oral assurance, it has been gone and verified on the ground mutually. According to the statement issued today, the landform in the area has been restored by both sides to a pre-standoff period.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
We're joined now by Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan. He's the Director General at the Center for Contemporary China Studies and a member of the National Security Advisory Board, and Colonel S. Dinny, former commanding officer of the Pangong Tso Battalion. General Narasimhan, I want to first ask you, now that we've had disengagement at Gogra, does it mean that hot springs is only a matter of time?
I think so. I think, as you are aware, that we have been always looking for getting back to the pre-April 2020 positions. So that is something we have been working around. As the first phase, you know that the Pangong Tso area and the Kailash range got vacated. Now the next one is the Gogra, and that again has been completed. I think in the next coming talks, we will be talking about the other friction points in PP15 area and in the Sangbal. So these are the areas that we need to still continue to keep talking and ensure that the disengagement takes place in completion.
Colonel Dinny, for the benefit of our viewers, can you explain to us the importance, the geographical location and the significance of this place of Gogra? Because in February we had visual evidence. We saw all of the temporary structures being dismantled from Pangong Tso. What about Gogra? Where does it stand in relation to this entire area?
See, ma'am, the Gogra is as important as any other friction points in which we saw the conflict happening since last April 2020, or rather May 2020. All those 4 places are of equal, almost importance. Of course, North Bank of Pangong Tso being the show window gained a lot of prominence, but other areas are also equally important because all these areas are along the line of actual control. So the line of actual control is being dominated by both sides up to these areas. Patrolling points are areas where both the parties come. So in that sense, Gogra lies in between Hot Spring and the Galwan, to put it very in a very simple language for the viewers. It lies in between this area, and these areas have been traditionally been areas where India's presence was less in the earlier years, but of late our presence is there. Of late, our infrastructure is coming up, and that is why all these conflicts and these kind of things are increasingly happening. So in all sense, whether it's at the tactical level or whether it is for the presence for dominating the line of actual control is concerned, these areas are very important, and that's why this particular scenario in which we have achieved disengagement, as you rightly mentioned, after having been verified by both sides. It's extremely positive sign is what I consider.
General Narasimhan, what was the reason that China finally agreed to disengage? Was it international pressure? Was it that it wasn't viable anymore to have men and tanks kept in those areas for such a long period of time?
I think it is a combination of a number of factors. It's something that we need to be looking into. First thing is that after the incident in Galwan happened, and the way that the Pangong Tso area got actually dealt with by the Indian forces, that would have put definitely pressure on the Chinese forces on the other side. That is one aspect of it. Second aspect is having come into new areas which are in high altitude, etc., maintaining them, sustaining them, poses its own issues and problems. That is the second thing. The third thing is, what is the cost-benefit analysis of this whole lot? In case you're not been able to achieve what you wanted to achieve, it may be better to get into some kind of an understanding and get back to the pre-incident positions, so that then at least the relationship could be revived. So there are a number of factors. In addition to that, what you said, I think China has also opened up a number of fronts. China, US is a problem. China, EU has got issues. China, South China Sea, One Belt, One Road initiative, then the Eastern Ladakh. I think too many fronts have got opened up. That may be another reason why this thing has happened. All along, I would say, sorry.
Yes, please go.
All along, I would say that it is a combination of all factors must have worked to come to this particular point.
But sir, when we vacated the Kailash ranges, a lot of experts here argued that we had a vantage point, and that is what was putting the real pressure on the Chinese. And now for them to withdraw from Hot Springs or Gogra or even Depsang, we've basically lost the bargaining chip. Do you think that argument holds?
No, that argument doesn't hold. That argument doesn't hold even then, previously, because what we need to understand is, when we have been insisting on pre-April positions from the Chinese, now you can't be holding on to some positions which you are not holding in April last year, because it has to be mutually applicable to both the sides. So that is the reason, one of the reasons why Kailash range got vacated. Many people had a lot of arguments on that either. So the problem that comes up is that having gone into a disengagement process in Kailash range as well as in Pangong Tso, these two areas were actually held by a very small number of troops on either side. So that doesn't make sense to actually keep pushing the envelope in that particular area. So what I would feel is, hereafter, you will find the next talks will talk about the other friction points like Dini pointed out, and we will continue to go towards the full disengagement is what I expect to happen.
Now, Colonel Dini, a lot of people, when we talk about disengagement, say, all right, so you had Pangong, you even had Gogra, but what about Depsang? Can you explain to our viewers the difference in what is happening at Depsang and the situation that was precipitated last year? Because very often the two are conflated.
See, ma'am, what we need to understand is that, first of all, this entire disengagement process, people wanted it to happen immediately. It doesn't happen like that. Once there was a conflict of the magnitude which we saw last year, there was no way that the disengagement and followed and then subsequently the de-escalation will happen in a manner as everybody wanted it to happen. It will never happen, because China will take its own time, and there is a method in which they will go back because of the various reasons which we all know. Now, coming to your question, what is different from Depsang and in this friction area? If I can put it very mildly, Depsang is an annual feature. That kind of, because the conflict there happens almost every year, and it's a legacy issue. It's always there. I know people are also allergic to using the word legacy issue, but it is a fact that every year there is a conflict in Depsang because of those patrolling problems. But in other areas where the conflict was there, the kind of forces which came in and the quantum of the change of status quo which was carried out was unprecedented. That is why the other areas gained prominence. So Depsang also happened, and because of this entire thing, Depsang also got sucked into this issue. Now, ultimately, yes, I agree that Depsang has to be sorted out. Once Depsang is resolved, then we can say, yes, there is a complete de-escalation. So the people need to understand is that Depsang has always been a problem, but Galwan, Gogra, and all these places were not a problem. They were not. North Pangong Tso, there was a problem, but there were never a problem in the sense that the troops came and sat there. So that is the difference with it. Depsang has always been a problem. It's a legacy issue, which I think it will take a few more rounds of talks and a few more discussions and all for them to completely disengage from that place. Even now, as I understand, there is no physical eyeball to eyeball contact in Depsang. So that is also we must understand.
And no eyeball to eyeball confrontation, and basically it's the patrols. The Chinese patrol comes, we intercept them. If we are patrolling, sometimes they intercept us. But the situation that was there in these 4 points post Galwan, it's not comparable to what is happening in Depsang. That's as far as the facts are concerned. The politics, of course, is another ball game altogether. But for bringing us the facts, thanks very much, General Narasimhan and Colonel Dini. Very important movement forward. And like our experts are telling us, the other points also inching towards a resolution. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon.